Ciao everyone, this is Esther.
Alfred here.
Of You, Me, and Sicily, and welcome to this video. We are going to talk about some hidden gems here in Sicily. Well, they're not really hidden. You may just not have heard so much about them.
This is the second time we're doing this, but really there are 400 towns in Sicily, and I think the whole 400 of them are gems myself. But this is the best of the best of the best.
Part 2.
Part 2.
All right, my first one is Cerami in the province of Enna. It's a beautiful little mountain town, and it's known mainly historically because of the Battle of Cerami that happened between the Arabs and Normans in the 11th century. It was a very decisive battle. But it's a beautiful town with great vistas, beautiful churches, and as in most towns, I love to talk to the locals, and these ladies were so excited to tell me about all the sights here in Cerami.
È perché è un paese da turisti, pulito,
Antico soprattutto.
è antico, cose tradizionali, e poi dovete andare anche al castello
Salendo di qua ci potete andare.
e dovete andare nella chiesa di San Sebastiano.
In Cerami, also, there's a beautiful story about the Madonna della Vina. We, of course, talked about it in a separate episode of You, Me, and Sicily.
Just wanted to make one final thing about Cerami before we move on to the next one, is that, the Normans didn't come here with a huge army. Mm-hmm. I think they were like less than 100 guys there, weren't there, Esther? Mm-hmm.
Well, according to legends.
Yeah, according to legend, there wasn't that many. The thing was, is they had better armor, and they were they had the big horses. They were also armed, and I think the Muslims were lightly armed. It was one of the things.
It was a decisive battle.
Yeah,
needless to say.
And as we all know, the Normans really were the Christianized version of the Vikings, so they were pretty fierce warriors. Those guys.
You, Me, and Sicily. But this piece was sponsored by Dr. Rosemary Ferdinand, who, by the way, is so exciting. There was a beautiful collaboration between University of South Florida and Corey University in Enna, and they had a 2-hour lecture that the University of South Florida Nursing School gave. So we're going to have much more about that in a future episode.
And this was Rosemary's doings, essentially, right?
Yes, it's her love for Enna.
She's a great woman. She's a great woman.
And by the way, and also the Dean Menon of the University of South Florida, these women, and also the Dean of the medical school in Corey University have been working tirelessly on this, and there's excitement that there will be future projects, so it's very exciting.
She's also a director at the Sicilian Project.
Yes.
Sicilian Project, and we raised €1,000 this week for 2 churches in distress in Catania. 7 days. Thanks to you. I want to thank you all, for those of you who contributed. Right. It's just unbelievable.
TheSicilianProject.com, that's our nonprofit. All right, Fredo, you've got the next one.
Mellili. I like Mellili. Mellili and the Church of San Sebastiano and the Feast of San Sebastiano and the people of Mellili, and also the Americans who supported from Middletown, Connecticut, who built a replica church of the same church. It's just a great place to visit. Our pal, Sal Paterno, right?
Yeah.
The famous guy that does all the clothes in Milan's men's fashion wear, I think it's called, in upstate New York. He told me about that. And we went up and we saw it, and we just love that town. One of my favorites.
James Fiorentino, also the mayor of Haverhill, Massachusetts.
Jimmy,
but the cool thing about also this town, it's on top of the hill, and it oversees, unfortunately, the industrial area in the province of Siracusa. But the air there is so fresh. The people are so friendly. And, nice little towns to walk in. The public garden is huge, and you have a beautiful panorama of the area.
And it's clean as a whistle, too. It's a great little town, believe me. It's only a half an hour, 40 minutes right out of Catania, right off the highway, right off the A18. Nope, A19, excuse me. Great place.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful drive.
So that's my choice.
next, we're going to head over to the province of Palermo and Aspra, seaside community, beautifully hand-painted boats. But the really cool treasure in this town is the Anchovy Museum. And the curator is what a character, Michelangelo. He even sang for us. At the end of this video, I'm going to have a little Sicilian song that he sang for us. But it's a great collection, and it chronicles the anchovy fishing that happened in the area. But it's not just the anchovy part of it. He also has Sicilian carts. He also has some anti-mafia items. It's just a great place. There's also a movie theater where they show old movies. So, yeah, Aspra, the Anchovy Museum. Put it on your list.
You know, Esther, I was a little confused when you told us that we were going to go there. I thought we were going to talk about, for example, famous anchovies. But I didn't see any famous anchovies there. Rather, we saw the fishermen who caught the poor fellas. Am I correct in saying that?
But that entire area is so beautiful. The seaside, the great foods, of course, but off the beaten path is this anchovy museum. And if you want to go there, contact me. I'll hook you up with Michelangelo, the curator.
And if you want, send me an email. I'll tell you the story about Guido, the famous anchovy.
Do you like anchovies?
I love anchovies.
On pizza. Ooh,
I like it on pizza. I like it in pasta, too. Are you kidding me? A little bit of anchovies with breadcrumbs. Peasant meal. Great.
Staple in that area.
That's right.
Right. And again, in the province of Palermo, we have Piana della Albanese. Alfred, that's one of yours. Well, mine too, but yours.
I would say top 5 towns in terms of cleanliness. You could eat off the streets. Piana dell'Albanese, you could eat off. It's Albanian people who went there because they were being persecuted in their homeland for their religious beliefs. Orthodox Christians. They were, and to my surprise, to my shock, right? We saw things that we had never seen before. For example, signs still in ancient or Albanese?
Albanese.
Yeah.
Albanese. So they came there when there was the persecution of the Ottoman Empire in the 15th century and settled there. You know, they're one of those groups, Alfred, that didn't invade Sicily. They came here specifically to settle, and they kept all their traditions, their Greek Orthodox traditions. Even during Easter, they dress up, and they even still speak Albanian. Take a look.
Tici Arbrejiet, Mirdit, Mirsejerde Tehora e Arbrejiet. Ho detto in italiano, benvenuto a Piana degli Albanesi.
So how cool is that in that little town, one of the biggest ones, but there are other places around Sicily where there's an Albanian population, but they speak Sicilian dialect, they speak Italian, they speak Albanian. And I asked one of the guys, so what do you think of yourself? Do you think of yourself as Sicilian, Albanian, because your forefathers came from Albania? And he said, I am Sicilian because I live in the land of Falcone and Borsellino. But it is very important for them to continue their culture, their tradition. So beautiful.
You know, there's 3 little factoids I like to talk about. Number 1 is that the fascist dictator Mussolini actually was instrumental in legitimizing their stay there, because they had come there, but it wasn't until Mussolini who actually legitimized their going to that little comune.
Well, it was called Piana delle Greci.
That's
and he
right.
Changed it to Piana delle Albanese.
That's number 1. Number 2 is that in all of Sicily's 400 comunes, I would say that their ricotta cannolis are number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Flat out the most delicious cannolo I have ever had in my life. You talk about delicious ricotta cheese there, all different types of cheeses. And it's not just in one of the bars there, or the pastry shop. It's in a bunch of them. Chicas, it's really good. If you come over here, you have to have one. But Nunzio was telling us they have the best ricotta canola in all of Sicily, so guess what?
Poor Alfred
I'm
had
up for
to
the
try.
challenge. I'm gonna take look at this. These are handmade. The crusting handmade. It's got a little piece of dried fruit on top. The presentation's good. Here we go. We're gonna try it. You see the stars over my head, the fireworks. You gotta come to Piana di Albanesi and get one of this guy's canolas. I'm telling you right now, it's worth the trip. Look at this baby. Look at it. Let's take a little bite. Tell me what you think.
Creamy, delicious.
It's great. And then number 3.
Their shells are
Oh,
very
the
very different than other places.
And for those of you who are into the whole Salvatore Giuliano stuff, when he tried to start an independent country right after World War II, that not too far away is the scene where the alleged massacre took place of some partisans that he ended up getting blamed for, him and his followers. And the story is out there. About 50% believe he did it, 50% he said he didn't do it. But Salvatore Giuliano still, believe me, is a folk hero in those parts of the woods. That is for sure. So interesting.
All right, let's stay in the province of Palermo and let's go to Cefala Diana. Wow, that was quite a treasure to stumble upon. There's a beautiful castle with a great view of the valley.
Tu sei stata a Palermo? Il Palazzo Steri?
Also, there's an ancient Arab bath there that's intact. Very, very cool. Of course, great vineyards, great olive farms, and just a great little town to visit. But that castle and that Arab bath was very, very unique.
That's another town that's very easy to get to, number 1. And number 2, she didn't talk about the olive oil. The olive oils from that area are terrific. We happen to know people who actually export them into the States.
Actually, the olive farm there is one of our olive tree memorial farms.
I didn't even know that. So that's a good thing to know. So one of the farms there is actually a place where we, have the olive tree memorial. Did not know that, E. But the thing that I liked about it was that the texture of the terrain, so to speak, is not just one color. I think I counted like 11 different colors of greens. And the little town, the little church in the little town is a great little place.
Yeah.
Good choice, Bunny.
Diana. We are in Marineo, in the province of Palermo. And what you're looking at right over there is a convent called Santa Maria della Daia. It was built around the 1500s and bombed during the World War II. But thanks to Padre Giuseppe Tosolino, it was rebuilt, and there's a beautiful garden inside that I'm hoping...
We do Bagheria next, right?
Bagheria. Let's stay in the province of Palermo. Let's go to Bagheria.
Bagheria. There's so many beautiful things to see in Bagheria. It's a beautiful little town on the outskirts of Palermo. It's in the province of Palermo. That town is probably in my top 2 or 3 of my favorite towns in that province. You have to go see it. What did I like? Well, we liked the little boutique hotel we stayed at a couple of times, I believe, at least one time. And I loved walking in the morning down into the commercial district, or even the residential district as the town was opening up. And it was a very clean place. And of course, there are beautiful sights. Esther, what sights do we see?
Well, I think the major jewels in Bagheria are all the villas. Beautiful, beautiful palaces.
Unbelievable.
And the Palgonia.
Okay, everybody knows that. But I have to say one thing. Put Bagheria on your bucket list, and you'll have a marvelous afternoon just tooling around town.
That main street is really cool with all the
Great
shops
main
and
street.
restaurants.
Yep.
But Palgonia is probably the most interesting one with all the figures in there. We did an entire episode on it, so check it out.
Great, it's great.
Non me la vai. Via.
Un bacio dalla Sicilia.
Guess where we are? Street food place in Bagheria. I'll show you guys these arancinis. Arancina is what they're called here. Arancino. And this one is of butter, meat, and chocolate. Can you believe that? Chocolate rolled in sugar. Cosa sono queste?
Mousse, torta di mousse.
Da Palermo?
Da Palermo, sì.
I want to give a big thank you to all our major sponsors. You'll see their names at the end of this video. They're part of the reason we're able to bring you these types of videos. So thank you for your support of You, Me, and Sicily. And if you're interested in sponsoring videos like this, or maybe an ancestral hometown, email me and I'll get you the details. But thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Now, I know we're doing a lot in the province of Palermo in part 1 of Hidden Treasures. We went some other places, but I want to stay in the province of Palermo and go to Castelbuono. Beautiful castle. And it is known for the Arab Norman castle. And inside is probably one of the most magnificent chapels I've ever seen. Beautiful chapel with a view of the town that is second to none. Also, as you walk down in the little streets, there's, of course, restaurants and bars and shops and views of the place. But Castelbuono is also known for this really cool type of plant called manna. It's a little bit sweet, it's flaky, but it's used in some of the cookies and even the panettones. And they have a panettone made out of olive oil. So Castelbuono, another Sicilian treasure.
Well, wait a minute. The panettone is made out of the regular ingredients, but butter is taken out and olive oil is substituted for the butter.
Thank you for that correction.
Thank you.
Make sure you put Castelbuono on your list to visit. Visit that castle. It is unbelievable.
Well, let me tell you, when I hear Castelbuono, I think of two things. I think of my friend Manfredi Barbera, the famous oil producer, who took me and Massimo 20 years ago in the middle of the night up that corkscrew mountain to get to Castelbuono to his pal's restaurant who was waiting for us, and we had 8 different courses of mushrooms.
Wow.
It was unbelievable because the mushrooms that grow up there in the fall.
That's right.
Oh, holy smokerinos. It's just unbelievable. And as she neglected to say, we used to bring a group up there who loved the castle, but the restaurants that we used to go to, some of the best in Sicily, a total jewel. If you want to eat good food, go to Castelbuono.
And you know, Castelbuono is one of the towns in the Madonia Mountains, which is a beautiful range of mountains here in Sicily, known for hiking, natural reserves. So all those little towns in the Madonia Mountains are just beautiful. But Castelbuono is another one of those hidden treasures.
Great place, great place.
Okay, guys, if you're watching this in January, we have our merch sale clearance going on until February 1st. So send me an email. We've got great embroidered hats. Ladies' t-shirts are really hot, and some other items. So email me at the email you see right there.
That street behind us?
So this is San Nicola Church. It's the second church.
Okay, I want to talk about the area between Lingoaglossa, Castiglione di Sicilia, and Randazzo on the backside of Etna. 3 beautiful areas over there. I'm going to give one recommendation on each one, okay? In Lingoaglossa is probably the finest vineyard, one of the finest vineyards in Mount Etna. Gambini Vine. Our friends, especially my friend Mike Watt, who's now back in the States, he loved that place, and so did Katia, our beautiful Sicilian daughter. She goes up there all the time. That's number 1. Number 2 in Castiglione di Sicilia, the town is just spectacular. It's a postcard, okay? But if you want to golf up there, our friends have a golf course up there. They just purchased it last year. Picciolo.
Picciolo
right?
Golf. Beautiful 18 holes.
It looks like the settings in the Masters. Everything is great greenery. And also in that area between Lingoaglossa and Randazzo, right after Randazzo, is a great restaurant. The name of the restaurant is, I want to just make sure I say it right for this. I don't even know this guy, but I've been there. It's unbelievable. Trattoria Tipica Don Santo. That's the name of the restaurant. Trattoria Tipica Don Santo. The reason I like it is it's totally 0 kilometer. Starting from the cheeses, which they get from the cows that they have on their farm, and also all the sausages which they produce by themselves, the lamb that they produce by themselves, the pasta that they make. If that restaurant was any place except up in Mount Etna and was in a place where there was a big population, the line would be 3 miles long. Flat out the best, one of the best restaurants in the provinces of Messina and or Catania. So I would say those 3 places are my recommendations as real jewels.
As you know, that was one of the first places that I learned about this notion of 0 kilometer foods, that all the foods come locally. We also went to a great gelateria in Randazzo, but in Lingoaglossa, Gambini Vine is the highest altitude on Mount Etna where there's a vineyard. So there you go. That's our little
Great
list.
places.
Part 2 of Hidden Jewels in Sicily. All right, Alfredo, you always end the show by saying
Sa Benedica.
Sa Benedica. Someone wants to know,
Sa Benedica.
what does it mean?
Sa Benedica is a dialect Sicilian sign of respect that you pay to people. Okay, now growing up, and the Sa Benedica, by the way, is the one that we use over here in the Etna province. In different parts of Sicily, they have different
What does it
pronunciations.
mean literally?
It means go with the Lord. Sa means go. Go with the Lord, or may God bless you. Okay?
Well, I think my Italian teacher said that you have to add Dio at the
she
end.
could add it. He's not my teacher.
Somebody, Dio.
I go with the people that I grew up with, and they taught me. Okay,
They
here's
still
what I do
use
know.
Dio?
Never. All the old timers. Okay, back in the day. Okay,
It's beautiful.
grandfathers, both of them my grandfathers, and all my tios. Those are my uncles. When I was a kid, as we were leaving, we would kiss their hand and say "Sa Benedica Nanu," which we and
Bless you,
bless you,
Grandpa.
Nanu. Okay. Now,
That's
come to
beautiful.
find out that this was probably going back to the Muslim occupation, because what the Muslims do is they still kiss the hand, but they bring it to their forehead. They'll go 2 or 3 times like that, and it's probably remnant from that. But Sa Benedica is the ultimate phrase of respect that you give to an elder.
Beautiful.
Okay, so that's why I say it. My brother
On that
Tommy
note.
says it too, and
On
it's a
that note.
family thing, so to speak.
Thank you for that explanation.
All right.
And thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you hit the like button, share it with a friend, and we will see you on another episode. But first, don't forget, write us a note. What do you want to hear more about? And stay tuned for that bacala recipe coming later in the week.
And what do I say? Sa Benedica.
Arrivederci.
Ciao.
Ciao.
C'è un giardino immenso di romari, tutto un tessuto di arance e ciuri. Ogni lasciatici vanno a cantare, ora i sirenici fanno l'amore. Ero l'allero, 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 l'allero. Ero l'allero, 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 l'allero.